Do you believe in coincidences? I didn't used to. I thought I was just a broken guy trying to survive in a dark cloud. But that God did something so loud, so specific, and so repetitive that I couldn't ignore Him anymore. If you've been asking God for a sign, for a reason to keep going, or a reminder that He actually loves a sinful, broken person just like me, I think you clicked on this video for a reason. Let me show you why. In my last video, I told you I spent years running from my own thoughts. Well, today, I want to tell you about the day those thoughts, they met their match. It started when I was asked to deliver my first sermon at church. At first, I'll be honest with you, at first I was a little cocky. I'm not scared to speak in public or show my face, and I'm pretty good at research, so I thought, man, I've got this. This will be easy. Piece of cake. But then my brain kicked in. The browbeating started. Who are you to lead people? Why would anybody listen to a broken man like you? I couldn't stop the voice in the back of my head telling me, I'm not good enough. I tried to find some easy topics to talk about: love, parables, things that wouldn't hurt. Maybe just read a whole chapter of one of the books. It couldn't have worked. I would have felt more like a fraud. I actually wrote a whole sermon, and I don't even remember what it was about, but nothing fit. And I was paralyzed by the very anxiety I thought I had beat. Just like a lot of us, I do what we do when we're desperate. I Googled topics for first sermons. I looked at hundreds of verses, hundreds of topics. Nothing was resonating. Finally, I just stopped. I prayed while I was at work. I was walking, doing some tasks, and I was just talking. 100% I felt after that prayer. That first sermon wasn't going to cut it. My pastor often talks about how he sometimes has no clue what a sermon is, even up to the night before, until God tells him. I didn't understand that. Finally, as a last stab at hope, I closed my eyes, flipped open the Bible. I just stabbed my finger down, and it landed right here. 1 Timothy 2:7. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. You see it right there. Calm came over me after I read that verse. I can't even explain it. That was it. It addresses my own fears, my own anxieties, and suddenly I knew this strength was from God. This strength from God is something I needed to share. And get this, just for even more confirmation, when I looked back at my computer, my mouse was hovering over the exact same verse on a website. It's crazy. I realized then this wasn't my message. It never is. It's God's. That verse, it changed a lot about my trajectory. Some versions of that verse use the timidity and fear, but in the Greek, it's much closer to cowardice. It's that feeling of shrinking back because you're afraid of the what ifs. But that feeling, that's not from God. It's from the world. When we turn to God, He gives to us because of His love for us. Let's look at what He gives. God gives us power. It's not my power, but it's His armor for battle. Not just fearlessness, but the ability to be unaffected by the world around us. He gives us love, the fuel that lets us forgive people who cut us off in traffic or belittle us or even done us serious wrong. Not just love for family and friends, but it's empathy and love for strangers and even so-called enemies. He also gives us the power of a sound mind, self-discipline. This is a kind of a clinical bridge almost. God gives us the ability to govern our thoughts rather than being a slave to them. And that's the problem I've always had. This even falls a little bit in the discernment path. He lets us know with that power of self-discipline when we're doing something that's not good for us or good for others. I realized if I didn't share God's word because I'm scared of what people might think, then I'm choosing my comfort over their eternity. I also realized that turning to Him doesn't make my problems go away. It gives me peace, the calm to handle those problems and not let them hurt me. The most amazing part, I gave that sermon. My pastor wasn't even there that week. He missed it. And the very next week, he gave a sermon that used that exact same verse. And it focused mostly on it. Then the next week, it came up again. And even in a Sunday school lesson, on the same verse, over and over and over. I received confirmation. It emboldened my prayer life because God was shouting. He was telling me, stop listening to your thoughts and start listening to my voice. Let's be clear. That verse didn't make me perfect overnight. I didn't read it and poof, all my anxiety and worry, negative thoughts just disappeared. But what the verse did, it put me on a path to less anxiety, less self-abuse. It gave me permission to be a broken, sinful man who is still allowed to be a herald of the gospel. Because God has given me the power. And also God has forgiven me so I can start to forgive myself. Is there something in your life that you're shrinking back from today? Maybe it's forgiving someone. Maybe it's just believing that you're worth saving. Or just believing that you can be good. I want to challenge you. Let's read Timothy, 2 Timothy 1, 6 through 12 today. Just 6 little verses. You don't have to be a perfect teacher to demonstrate God's love. You just have to share your story. I'm sharing mine here. Testimonies are powerful. They let others see your worst and know that you're better because God is in your life. If this verse means something to you, drop a power and love in the comments. I'm Travis, and I'm grateful we're on this journey together, and I hope to see you on the next video as well. Have a blessed day.